Hi, it's Tim here, and this is the fourth video in a 7-video series where we are going through the 7 steps to future-proofing. This is based on this document here, 7 steps to taking control, doing what you love, and being valued in an unpredictable and unforgiving world. So this is all about future-proofing your professional life. And there's a link to this document. If you're interested in reading the document, there's a link in this below this video. And also that will automatically enroll you in a series of live Zoom calls that I'm doing on Thursday afternoons Eastern Time, and where we're stepping through, and it's an open conversation. Anyone can join us. And so no Zoom bombing though, guys, but everybody, you're welcome to join. And really, it's if you have an interest in the career future proofing process, in what that looks like, and just having a conversation about that. So in these videos, I'm stepping through and trying to give a little bit of detail about each step. And let me just quickly recap where we are. So the first step is really all about taking ownership of your time. You've got 100 hours of programmable time per week, each and every week. What are you doing with that time explicitly to build the future you want to build, to become the kind of person you want to become? And so that's the first step, is really all about taking ownership and thinking about yourself as a business platform. You are the platform of me, is what we're calling it. That leads to the second step, which is really about developing a rhythm to being the most productive, most focused self that you can be. And this is critical because we live in a world of distractions, endless distractions. Whether we're working at home, whether we're working in offices, we are constantly distracted, and it is so easy to get knocked off of our game. And so the key thing here is what we call the weekly heartbeat, which is really about setting up a structure for your week, so that you're always clear about what is important for you to be focused on, and that helps keep you, that helps to pull you back from the disruptions and making sure that you're focused on the one big thing and what's important. And so we build all of that into this weekly heartbeat, which is really fundamentally about being focused and productive, and making as much gains as you can week in and week out, so that you build that habit of actually delivering on your goals. That leads us to the third step, which is now about, you've now kind of got the mechanics in place and you've got the thinking in place. Now it's about, okay, what is it I really want to do with my life? What is my superpower? What is my skill set? What are my interests? How do I figure out where I really want to spend my, what that wheelhouse is, where I really want to spend the bulk of my time, and I really want to build my professional life around that. And there's a process that we take people through based in my book, the Reboot Your Career process. But essentially, this is really about combining those things that I've talked about, and doing some self-reflection work in a very structured way of thinking through all of that, so that you can end up developing real clarity about, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm good at this. I have the stories to support this. This is where I'm really going to stake my claim, as it were. And so that's the third step in the overall process, which is about learning and understanding what your most compelling value story is, and learning to tell it well. And that leads us now into the fourth step, which I'm going to spend a little bit of time on in this video. And that is just really now about, you have your story, go out and network widely. Let people know who you are and what you do for them. And that's not just that can't just be a sales blast. Nobody really appreciates that. So it's got to be structured in a way where you are legitimately curious about what people do, and really you're sort of saying, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do, but I really want to understand you and your concerns, your problems, what motivates you. But the key here is that in developing your introduction, if it's nice and short and sweet, you have an opportunity to plant a seed in someone's brain that helps them understand you in as few words and phrases as possible. And that's the key. Nobody's got very long attention spans. And what I really need to do is just plant the seed that says, this is who I am. This is what I'm all about. These are the kinds of problems that I seek to solve. And the association there is, and if you know of any of those problems, and you learn to trust me, then by extension, you will be willing to open up your network to myself, who is now a trusted contact for you, because now you can provide a service to your friends and associates in terms of solving problems that sounded similar to the kinds of opportunities I'm looking for. So that's kind of the rationale of what you're trying to connect up in this. But these have to be legitimate, authentic conversations. Ultimately, people want to work with people that they know and trust. And that is a fundamental of human nature. And that is not changed at all with our tools and our automations and the internet and all of the rest. We still fundamentally want to be with people and work with people that we know and trust. So that's all built into effective networking. The other, the other point to really make in the networking space, and it's very, this video is being filmed in the time of COVID-19, and so this is a really big observation. This is an interesting time in our lives where you're starting to see the tools for for networking, virtual networking, to really sort of come to the forefront. Yes, fundamentally as humans, we want to spend face time, and that deepens our relationships, but there's so much that we can do virtually. And when you think about the tools, for the ability to use LinkedIn or Facebook, but LinkedIn generally as more of the professional networking tool, to understand what people are all about, to engage people in interesting conversations, to approach them and say, hey, let's have a Zoom call, or let's have an old-fashioned telephone call. So all of these tools are there and are incredibly effective in helping us be better networkers. The key part in networking, and this is why we did this in step 3, the compelling value story, is you can't network effectively if you don't know what it is that you are all about. If you are telling 5 different stories because you're pursuing 5 very different kinds of opportunities because you don't want to hone in on who you really are, you're going to serve really just to confuse yourself and confuse most people and make the whole networking process frustrating. So the key is that step number 3, which is really to hone in your story and become clear about what the overall integrated story is, the highest value story. And that then enables much more effective networking, because you can now communicate everything that you're interested in a short, snappy soundbite. And we call these things taglines, elevator pitches, all kinds of different language that we use. But the essence is a very clear signal that says, this is who I am. And this is how you get, as an engineer, this is about signal to noise ratio, and there's a heck of a lot of noise out there, and you've got to get your signal to break through that. And that means that it can't be 5 different signals based on 5 different possible conversations you might want to have. It's one signal that just gets amplified with everything that you do. And that's the key to really breaking through. And that's really, really critical in networking. There's a bunch more details about the networking in the actual guide itself, the 7 steps to taking control. That is, as I say, that is a downloadable link that is in the embedded beneath the video. And again, that would welcome you to then join us in future Zoom calls on Thursdays, where we just kind of in a live Zoom call. These are not recorded. We're just having a live Zoom call with whoever wants to show up, and we just talk through the essence of the future proofing process, and I make myself available to answer any sort of questions and have those discussions. So I welcome you to join us. It's Tim Reagan signing out, and we'll see you again in next installment. Take care.